part of the sugar conspiracy.
Can't help it. Ginger ale.
Hey, did you get in on that net when I told you to? When I mentioned it to you? Cloudflare?
No, I thought you said it was too high.
No, not Cloud Strike. Cloudflare.
Oh, I went to Cloud Strike.
Yeah, Crowd Strike's up at almost 300 now, but Cloudflare went from 120 to 212.
Oh yeah, it's too high now. Like $120 a share.
It was 120, now it's 212.
Nice.
So bad.
That stuff I send you normally pays out.
That's gone.
Long term, not short term.
Right.
They recommended new stuff today, I think. I got a text message while I was at work.
Man, my crypto not doing good today.
Man,
can y'all hear me?
Them boys, you are your brother's keeper, and you don't need to go to the store for no damn soda.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, we about to be up and running.
Said you tell them boys you are your brother's keeper, and you don't need to go to the store for no damn soda.
Are you talking to me, Mike?
I'm talking to you.
Oh shit, my bad. Say no more. Say no more. Say no more.
Don't go buy that soda.
That's
the devil elixir.
And then you got me and my ginger ale.
Ginger ale, not as bad as Pepsi. It's still not good, but it's not as bad.
Oh, it's awesome when you pour some Crown in it.
Right. Wish I could drink. I'd be in the hospital to my pancreas. My triglycerides. I don't know why it's 2,000.
Crown apple and ginger ale.
Episode 9, Season 2, Real Talk, Week 18, the league. Start off early. Hey man, we got another show coming tonight as well when we advance after the last game being played, a very important game being played, which will determine the reality of some of these AFC East teams. We got a battle between 3 teams that can win this division that we'll talk about. I know, I'm sitting here on the playoff tree right now, and I'm about to talk about the teams, the 14 teams. So I labeled the 16 teams looking to dance, right? And the reason why I put it on 16 teams because we have a division that's not settled yet. The dust is not clear yet. It's still a lot of smoke in the air over there in the AFC East. It's for the AFC side of the picture of the tree. On the other side of the tree, I don't think nothing's going to change. I think everything's locked in. I think everything will stay exactly where it's at right now. So, when we talk about them, we get the full picture of what their matchups will be about. I will not be speaking upon matchups tonight. What I'm going to talk about is the 16 teams that have, a chance to make in the 14 that makes the wild card round, the divisional round, so forth. Bottom line, Game of Thrones 3, Season 2, playoffs. Alright, so the chat was buzzing today. When I talk about the plugs that I want to talk about, the chat was buzzing today. And it was a weird buzz today. The Giants been smelling themselves, smelling their own shit since the win over the Eagles. Rightfully so, though. In his bag right now. Seemed like he was talking a lot of shit to a threat. You know what I'm saying? Usually when you come and ask somebody over some things they're doing right now, you're paying attention. That means you are worried about that team. Rightfully so. Crew love, though, you know, not goes no further than that. It is what it is. I'll discuss a little bit of that. Probably even talk about some of the shit that was said in the chat, just a little bit, just to, you know, get a buzz and a spark. But our league is not the way the league that is without our chat having some type of shit talking and all that. The AFC East is nah, that game don't count, man. You're not getting a gift off that game. He fucking laughed like a motherfucker. Hell no. Fuck out here, foe. No way. Fuck out here, foe. Fuck out here, foe. Fuck out here, dog. Sorry. So look, man, the 14 teams, I'm going to talk about them within length. I'm going to really discuss, you know, what I think about these 14 teams sitting in the playoffs right now, man. And we're going to really stay there. So not going to be a long episode whatsoever, but it will be a long episode of how I discuss these teams. And you know, the pluses, the negatives, the goods, the bads, you know, plus negatives, good, bad, everything that I can possibly dig up and think about when it comes down to these teams that are all looking to sit on the throne at the end of the day. Who's going to King's Landing for the final battle for the throne? Is it Aegon's? I know you're a big Game of Thrones guy. Shoguns. The Targaryen, the original Targaryen. It was Aegon.
Well, I mean, you had Aegon, you had Aenon. Was it not Ares? You had You know when the theme song come on. Aemon. Yeah,
who's the guy that he named when he be like the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies? You know, what's his name? Littlefoot or whatever the fuck his name was. Remember, he comes on with the.
It's about Tyrion.
No, not Tyrion. I'm talking about the guy that did all this. Yeah, Littlefingers, the nigga that started the whole war of the Seven Kingdoms. You know how he comes on and he be like, Aegon, the 1,000 swords is melted into that one on a chair of Aegon. Remember, like he said something like that along those lines. That he said. So I'm thinking about who's the original Targaryen that, you know, that Game of Thrones timeline was represented around, and all that, whatever. But anyway, you know, the 14 teams that will make the playoffs will be fighting to go to King's Landing, aka Super Bowl, and the winner of that game will be the guy that will sit on the throne and will own King's Landing and the Seven Kingdoms, the entire league. Right now, it's D West's throne, so we gotta call it D West throne. He won it last year, and until somebody, you know, take it from him, then he's the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the guy. So this is D West's throne. He sits in King Landing. He is running the entire league. Hashtag Game of Thrones. King Landing. That's who sits on the throne. It's the West family, House of D West, and his clansmen in Chicago are the, you know, guys that run the entire league right now until somebody takes that throne from them. And the other 13 teams are, or other 14 teams, 15 teams, I'm sorry, are battling for to have the right to be able to get to that fight. So there's a bunch of little fights and wars that's going to go along until that big battle happens in the middle of the essence of King Madden. Let's see King Thrones. Alright, so just, you know, a little plug for King Madden right now. I am almost done the draft class. And once I do that, I'll have it done by the night. But once I'm done the draft class of King Madden, I will finish up the rookies over there, and then we'll go into season 2 in a full-fledged situation where everything's done over there. Simple as that. Alright, who's gonna get that thrown over there and win that $100? I don't know. Hopefully it'll be me, so I ain't gotta pill that shit. You know what I'm talking about? Cheap as a motherfucker. I don't want to do no shit like that. Alright, so man, the number 1 seed in the NFC is the Cardinals. The number 1 seed in the AFC are the Ravens. However, we're going to go backwards, front to back. So from back to front, I mean, we're going to start with number 17 on both sides of the tree. And we're going to start with the number 17 in the NFC and the number 17 in the NFC and AFC. All right, so as you can see, the number 7 team in the NFC are the Detroit Lions. All right, and I'm gonna give you my real preview of who they are, the coach, you know, what their future look like, what they look like right now, their chances of, you know, winning it all, whatever the case may be, and then we'll talk about those Cleveland Browns on the other side in the AFC right now. So let's follow me through my little journey of the teams we're going to talk about right now. And when I talk about them, I stay in leagues and I go on the stats, and I'm going to go to their team as a whole, just stat wise. I don't care about nothing else but that right now, because we want to talk about where they are as a team right now. So the first conversation will be on the Lions, and we'll talk about them in depth on, you know, them making the playoffs. Like I said, I don't think nothing changes. I think they're the 7th seed regardless. All right, so not only did they make the playoffs after picking first in the draft last season, you know, they had a really bad year last year. The coach's first time with this team, figuring some things out. You know, I always talk about how you go through your draft classes in your offseason to be able to build your team and your image versus playing with the team you chose. And they did exactly that, man. The Broncos game ain't played yet. Nope, them or the Dolphins and Ravens. Alright, so the Lions, Freddie Miner is one of their first pickups. They went after their franchise quarterback, where I thought they would chill and allow Goff to really, like, still be the quarterback over here. And I didn't think they would spend, you know, a high draft pick on a quarterback. Now they got Freddie Miner in the 2nd round, a star athlete, rookie. They picked the 3rd round. They actually got him in the 3rd round. Pick one. You know Dano ain't gonna play that game until he absolutely comfortable as shit, just to run it 50 times. Freddie Miner, drafted 3rd round, pick 1. I guess the luxury of picking, you know, in the top 3, you get to do it in every round, so you get to grab yourself a quarterback. And the fact that he got this type of quarterback in the 3rd round after Shogun's predicted it was going to be a runoff on quarterbacks in last year's draft, and it was exactly that. It was a complete runoff on quarterbacks. Freddie Miner was picked up in the 3rd round, and honestly, I like this pickup. I think this was a good pick for them. And you know, I didn't think he would be coming in and starting right away though. Guns, you got a big quarterback over there, 6'5", 236 pounds, right? Guns, I didn't see this though. I didn't see him starting over Goff. I thought we'd see him redshirt for a year, but obviously no. 79 overall. He got a +2 morale right now. Comes in with 94 throw power. He got a really good deep ball, 84. Medium accuracy is at 83. Short is high 86s, so he's great. Good, not great. I won't call him great yet. But 86 is high. I'll show you what I mean by that real fast. Follow me through the edits. Alright, so when you go to a player and you get to the overall by archetypes, you get to see some things when you're building them. So you see his scrambler, improviser, strong arm, and field general. He's all 75s. So he's above average right now. Like 75 and above is average. When you get to the 80s, like I would say somewhere it's about 85. Once you get to 85, you're dealing with a good player. And then 90 threshold, they're great. And after that, they're elite. So right now, if you look at him and some of the attributes he got, I'm not going to sit and side editing too much longer. I just wanted to, you know, give you all that quick breakdown. When you're dealing with this guy and you look at his ratings, 94 throw power, that's great. That's elite throw power, actually. Deep accuracy, great. Medium, 83. Short accuracy, 86. 77 in awareness. Still got to get a little better. And you can excuse that as a rookie quarterback. Throwing a run, 80. Play action, 82. Under pressure, 81. Break sacks, 82. With solid speed, 84. Acceleration and speed, agility, 88. Carrying is pretty solid. Stiff arm, trucking, change of direction, 83. Strength, 80. So he's definitely strong for a quarterback. But you would expect him to be strong at 6'5", 236 pounds. And not to stay too long on him though, but Guns, I thought that, you know, Jared Goff probably would have still started the quarterback job this year. They didn't even get to preseason. They got out of training camp, and this battle was already won by Freddie Miner. What volume does that speak for him?
Well, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I predicted that the Lions was going to take a quarterback in the 1st round in the first place. And even though that didn't happen, he still came back and addressed the quarterback position. still early, because when you got a team that's this young, you might want to consider it a rebuild. So why play a vet when you're in the midst of a rebuild? If you're going to rebuild, you might as well just build everything, you know, with the young personnel that you brought in.
Alright, well, you know Mother Israel ain't gonna stop calling until I tell her to stop calling. I'm on my podcast show, Mama. What's up?
I'm sorry. Call me again. Now, this thing, I can't keep saying this. It's not working.
Alright, I'll fix it when I get off the show. Alright. Alright, I'm back at it. Yeah, but I agree too. And I think that's why, you know, Goff was sitting here and he's doing, you know, he's saying all the right things, but you know, the competitor in him was pissed off because he didn't feel like he had a fair opportunity to win the job back. I think they already had their mind made up. And I think that's why he was installed as a starter, and they named him the starter right away. But Goff took it like a champ. You know what I mean? He's hoping that, you know, his career isn't over. He understands that, you know, at this point now he's a backup quarterback unless somebody sees value in him to come be a starter for another team. But right now I think his career is completely over as a starting quarterback. Would you agree or disagree to that?
Yeah, I think he should probably focus on being a backup, but always be ready, because you one injury away, you one holdout away from being right back there. So yeah, he's pretty much going to be, I don't want to call him a journeyman quarterback, but he might as well get used to the backup role.
Hell yeah, and as long as he's on the team, he might as well go ahead and sit back and collect that check. And all you gotta do is hold the clipboard, really. Like you said, be prepared though. But he gonna make good money as a backup though. Period. I mean, shit. I would love to be on a team right now, just sitting there chilling, collecting my dough. You know what I mean? I got dough, and if I don't got dough, my friends got dough, and if he ain't got dough, we all got dough. Shit, we bring all your hoes. You know what I'm saying? That's how we coming. High. Alright, so Freddie Miner is really playing at a high level, in my opinion. You can't mention this team playing. They're playing ahead of schedule, and you can't be ahead of schedule without a quarterback getting it done. And he's gotten it done. 5,214 yards, 46 touchdowns versus 40 INTs, 63 completion percentage. Guns, this quarterback is really wielding their team to where they are right now, the 7th seed. How much do you put on his shoulders of getting them there?
I mean, those 5,000 yards says, you know, it says a lot, but it also means that something else within your offense was going well for you to have those opportunities. So you got to turn around in his case and look behind him at Swift and you know, and the big uglies up front, and think you know, a running game that makes people pay attention, that actually opens up and gives them that additional time for, you know, for passing. 5,000, that's an outstanding season.
DeAndre Swift carried the ball 226 times. He has 1389 on the year, 6.1 yards to carry, 14 touchdowns. They also picked up Bob and Weave, Nick Weaver, you know, rookie running back, to play the backup role, to cut some time in and help out there in the backfield. 54 carries. I do think, I mean, 4.7 is not bad. I do think his production will go up next year. He really wasn't asked to do much. They kind of pretty much redshirting this guy in a sense, where it's like, all right, he's redshirted, but he get to play 4 games. You know what I'm saying? That's what those numbers look like to me. And we were speaking on college terms right now. He's redshirted, but he got to play in 4 games before he had to take that red shirt. So I think that's exactly what they did. I do think he'll be a good fit going forward with this team as well. And then Miner carried the ball 35 times. Outside of that, there were 3 ball carriers of this team. And DeAndre Swift did a good job at it. I mean, 1389. Now, in most cases, you'd be like, that's a pretty good season for running backs, but not in our league. In our league is a little different. We got when you're going to see numbers on guys at the running level and at the passing level and at the quarterback level, that's just like, you know, it's way beyond shit that you ain't gonna see. So 1389, I would say, damn, he had a good season, but like, I would call it average because of, you know, the other like 15 to 20 running backs that's in that 1,000 to 2,000 yard running right now. So 1389 is serviceable right now versus that's being like, all right, he shit it like with 14 touchdowns. There's so many more running backs that have these type of numbers or more. But you know, as a running back, you want to better touch that 1,000-yard and double digits on the ground, touchdowns wise. Off those 226, he only fumbled the ball one time. When you get to the receiver stage of this, and they picked up Deion Jones. They got Blake Porrell, T.J. Hawkinson at the tight end position, and Jay Kalon Pittman. I'm looking. Where's that practice squad guy at that they had? Did they not play him no more? Did he not move forward with this team? Was it Deion Jones? Like, no, it was somebody. It was a real rookie. He got off practice squad that led his team in catches last year. Doesn't look like he's on his team anymore. So anyway, all right. Now they drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown, and drafting Amon-Ra, it's Blake, I think. Nah, it's not. Is it Blake? Was it Blake last year? Well, I'll tell you right now. I'll go to stats. It wasn't him. I can't remember the guy's name. Nah, it wasn't Blake last year. He ain't on his team this year. All right, so they drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 2021 draft. And I thought, you know, he'll be a really good slot receiver over here. But he only had 8 catches this year. I don't know if that was due to injury or what's the case may be. But the team's success went through, I would say, five players when it comes down to throwing the ball. So you got Deion Jones, 6'3", 190 from Clemson. He had 1,371, catches, 13 touchdowns. Blake Porrell, 73 for 1,425 yards. The tight end also had 1,000 yards. Jay Kalon Pittman with 51 catches, 879, 6 touchdowns, and then DeAndre Swift had 46 catches. I mean, is it impressive that not only did, you know, the quarterback numbers are really good, the running backs did some things, and then they got 3,000-yard receivers over there.
Absolutely, that was a high octane offense, and if you think about that division, that may have been something that they had to do, you know, to keep up with those prolific offenses that are out there, you know, with their opponents.
Yes, sir.
You know, you got that high octane, you know, Green Bay offense. Of course, you got the Bears who ended up with an outstanding offense that I didn't see that type of production, you know, based off looking at the roster, and then of course, you know, Minnesota with their 2 All-Star or Pro Bowl receivers. And their Pro Bowl running back, you know, they had to score just to keep up.
Yes, they did. All right, so now this is the offense. Before I go to what they doing on defense, I label this guy, this coach, and what he likes to do. Scheme wise, their offense to me is I call it the peak and scream offense, and here's why I call it that. They have a controlled running game. They don't depend on a running game at all. But they have a controlled running game, right? And their run game sets up everything. And the peak part of their offense is the fact that this team probably throw the RPO game more than anybody else in the league. These guys will rely on their receivers to catch and run after the catch. Although you're not going to see a high, you know, number of rack yards and all that stuff, but like these guys, the way they play their offense is not a West Coast offense. It's not a dink and dunk. It's a peek and scream, because what they do is they'll lure you to sleep with the RPO look, right? The you know, the slants, the bubbles, the wide receiver screens, jet sweeps, a lot of short route concepts where it's run after the catch situations. And then the scream is the moment they lure you to sleep on that, they got beaters on the field where they run by you. Alright, so the peak and scream offense, I think it fits this coach's style, and he got the pieces. He's going to have to continue to build it, but he has the pieces to do it. The type of players he got on this team can completely handle what he's trying to do offensively, and I think that's why the turnaround for this team, where they, you know, had the first overall pick last year to them playing in the playoffs this year, it's because those pieces, those players that he drafted or put on his team, puts him in a situation to do exactly what he want to do on offense. It's a consistent offense. It can, at times it could be very, very challenging if if things don't go the way he planned. And what I mean by that is his offense relies on those guys to be able to make that the RPO game. I mean, right? And what I mean by that is the way his offensive line, because he's going to build the offensive line, they really got the big boys up there for protection. But the way they have to be able to distinguish between when is a run and when is a pass. Simple as that, right? Because when they call their peak part of their plays, it's exactly that. You never know which one is going to be. Are they pass blocking or are they run blocking? All right. So the peak is a split second between decision making with linemen. We have to know when to go hard and push up the field as blockers and when to set back and pass protection, right? Off the peak. So to have the right pieces to be able to do all that, you got to have agile offensive linemen. Niggas over there sweating. It's bleak, I think. Niggas over there sweating. Let me find out. Yeah, Nano's scared to death. Yes, he is. All right, so that's the peak part of it, and then the screen part again. That's the shot plays. That's the plays that happen somewhere between 15 and 30 yards downfield. And the screen part of it with that same offensive line, they are sold on passing, and they understand that they're in pass protection. Now, how well was that offensive line when it comes down to protecting? 27 sacks they gave up, right? On a rookie. Not all that 27 sacks is going to be blamed on a line. You got a rookie quarterback. You know he's going to be indecisive. He's going to make decisions. Might hold the ball a little too long, and all that. But the peak and scream offense for the Lions and Coach Antonio, I think they're going to continue to build, and they're going to get some more pieces that's really going to take this offense to a higher level right now. And like you said, for the offenses that's in that division just alone, you have to be able to keep up to that. And he's showing that he can do it right now, especially with 3,000-yard receivers. That's very impressive. That's very big. That's showing you that you're utilizing all your players on your team, and it's more than one player that that's a playmaker for this team. Anything else you would like to say about this offense, Guns?
I think you covered it all. Defensively, they got safeties and linebackers that are flying, but I know we got to keep the show moving. So
now on defense, these guys they want athletes on the field, right? Period. And to have athletes on the field, these guys don't. They're not a heavy run stopping team. What they want on the field is they want better athletes on the field. So if you got good tight ends, they got good safeties to better cover those tight ends from the sub package. They did pick up J.R. Nixon. I think 79 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 6 sacks on the year right now. In my opinion, he did a good job. Those 79 tackles and 6 sacks, he's played pretty good for the #1 overall pick. I don't think he's been a disappointment, and I think they can build around this guy, and he's going to continue to go up. He's on the up climb right now anyway. And then you put the pieces around that. You're not going to get a high volume of sacks from defensive linemen over there. Rashawn Farrell exceeded expectations at 6'7". He had 8 sacks, but you're not going to get a lot of double-digit guys over here from the D-line. What you're going to see is the linebackers. You're going to see safeties. You're going to see all types of skilled-looking players, kind of in ways getting to the quarterback more than the D-line. They don't ask their D-linemen to really be great pass rushers. If they are, it's a plus for this defense. If they don't, it's cool because of what they got on the field. These guys want to be in nickel 3-5-5. They want to be in nickels, dimes. They want the athletes on the field, and they want to beat you with speed and athleticism on their defense right now. And I think they can continue to build. As you know, who that Jacobs, I always tell you about that kid from last year from Ole Miss. We had no idea who he was. And all he did was win Defensive Player of the Year for over there. Melifanu, with 13 interceptions from the cornerback's position, is giving them a 1-2 punch. Him and Akuda with 9 and 13 INTs right now. As you can see, they even got a third corner with 7 picks. And this is what happens when you put a bunch of safeties and DBs on the field and you ask them to make the plays. So they got to be good run stoppers as well with this team. I do think them playing with a bunch of athletes on the field, and they pick, they like to be in those type of defenses, can hurt them when they play running football teams. Smash mouth football teams give the Lions a problem right now, and we'll see that in the playoffs when they got to play teams that are run heavy teams right now. All right, so that's the 7th seed over there for the NFC. Now the 7th seed for the AFC are the Browns. Now, Guns, I think this team has been all about how much can Baker Mayfield run the Boone Cat offense. Simple as that. Is he a good fit for what they're trying to do? I think the league has kind of screwed this team over in a way by patching the tight end delay. That's a heavy part of their offense. Before we get into numbers, we got to talk there with the Boone Cat offense. How much effect you think that will take on the Browns and Coach Boone and what he like to do?
I'm not. I don't want to say I'm not worried about what that coach want to do. I think this is a blessing in disguise. I think that particular play has handicapped his play. As far as ascending to the next level, there's only so much you can do with that play before, what happens when the league catches up on it. Then after that, you're kind of behind the 8 ball to develop something else. So I think that this will go ahead and propel him forward to going deeper into the playbook. So I think it's a blessing in disguise.
And here's my thing: the league ain't catch up to it. The league shut it down. EA shut that shit completely down. You don't control when you release the guy. You got to think about this. If he drop back and throw the ball, let's say 100% of him throwing the football, 70% has tight end delays in it on his play calling. That is a huge change. Not being able to do that now for this Browns offense. But with that being said, you have a guy like Nick Chubb in the backfield who can counter that 70% delay phase that you're going to lose, as long as if he goes past this 160 carries. I mean, it's a sin that Nick Chubb has 160 and 888 yards, that he's not a 1,000-yard back. I'm confused over here a little bit. Your backup had 100 carries. He averaged almost 5 yards a carry. He had double-digit touchdowns, and I would say you split time between the two, kinda. But Nick Chubb, guns under 1,000 yards on the year. What's going on with this Browns team?
I mean, in his case, unfortunately, he doesn't play tight end. I mean, there's not a lot I can add. I mean, I'm just as baffled as everybody else. If you have a running back of this caliber that you don't use, why is he there? When he can bring you so much in return. If that's all that you're going to do with him. But like I said, with this change, that's league wide in reference to play calling and things like that, this may actually breathe life back, back into Nick Chubb.
Yeah, because they're going to make up for that. 70% of that offense got to get made up somewhere, and you can do it with 25 to 30 carries. Now, we know playoffs is here, so we know Nick Chubb will be a major part of that offense, especially with the change in the tight end delay. And I said it all year long. If it's a big game, Nick Chubb has a big game. If it's have big production, if it's a team that he's not worried about, well, right now he's not the 5th seed playing in a situation where he thinks, the team that's sitting in 4th place is is chopped liver, is a team that, he considers a bye round 1. That loss last night that he should have won put him in a situation where he got to play somebody that he hasn't beaten yet in 2022. The Denver Broncos, right? So we know Nick Chubb will touch the football, but this offense is definitely explosive, so let's not go away from that. Baker Mayfield is second in the league with 6,599 yards, 62 touchdowns, 35 picks, 64%. He averaging 412.4 yards a game. That's amazing for a guy that doesn't even want this guy as his quarterback. All right, Nick Chubb's production went down from last year to this year, not only in carries but yards, average touchdowns, etc. For him to be one of the best running backs in the league, 55.5, will have us forgetting about a Nick Chubb real fast. We'll beg the question, is this guy going to be a part of his team next year? When it comes down to receivers, Anthony Schwartz grew up as a grown man, 133, 3,347 yards, 38 touchdowns, 209 yards a game. After the catch, this guy has 1,433 yards. There's only one other player in the league that has, run after catch yards like this, 10.8, and that's Rondell Moore. But this guy does it in a different way. He's getting pretty much in and around jet sweeps, reverses, and it shows you that on a jet sweep he's somewhere between 10.8 yards a carry. which is a big part of his offense. But when you think about Anthony jet sweep Schwartz, you're not just jet sweeping him. Trust me, we talk shit and we play it out. Oh, he jet sweeping him to death. Da da da. This guy can run behind anybody, and he does. He shows it game in and game out. This guy gets behind the defense at any chance he pretty much wants. He can get by the defense with that type of speed. He got world class speed. And he uses him in that worst one. I think the fact that his production went up the way it did also contributes to Nick Chubb not carrying the ball as much as he did. Also, the schedule he had this year, I think that put him in a situation where you would think Odell Beckham would be the guy over here, but they're bringing up another rookie over here, Wes Welker II, 62 catches, he had 1,243 yards, 6 touchdowns as well. So they're getting production out of a slot where we're starting to see Asian guys like Jarvis Landry production go down. Odell Beckham production went down from last year as well, but it doesn't kill him because of the rise of Welker and what Schwartz has done offensively over here. Now the tight end, 39 catches for 637 yards, 8 touchdowns. How important will Austin Hooper be now that he has to be a tight end that can't sneak his routes open? He gotta, he's in the tree now. He's in the passing tree. He's not a guy blocking. You fall asleep on him and he screams down the middle of the field. He's a guy that gotta get his touches in the real passing game of this team. Obviously, we already know the name of his offense is the Boom Cat offense, and there's nobody that can duplicate what he does at all, because he's very special at it. Like, this guy been running a Wildcat since I known him, Madden 17, and he's been doing it at a high level. Really, really good at it. But Baker Mayfield numbers doesn't make me feel like he's a quarterback that can't play for this team. Yeah, we don't feel like he'll be part of this team next year. When you talk about the Browns guns, let's not forget that this team is one of the best teams on the game. Let's not forget that this team is too deep at every position. Damn near every position they needed to be. They got way better. They have a front four on defense that's probably scarier than it's the Washington football team in the AFC. The way he put that front four together on defense. He got 2 young rookie linebackers. One of them is going crazy this year, and Tarquan Battles, who's balling out for this team right now. He leads the team in tackles with 101, 9 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 3 interceptions right now. Denzel Ward is a complete shutdown corner over here. Do you think his production went down as far as interceptions because guys aren't trying him, or is it just he's not having a good year?
No, I don't. Out of the games that I've watched, I've not seen a lot of. I haven't seen him being tested, which is smart from the other team. In my opinion. So I think it's just his play.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll shut down for a reason. His numbers is down because the guys are not stupid. They're not going to throw at him as much, because he literally can bag your number 1 receiver. 13.5 sacks for Myles Garrett, 17 tackles for losses. His production, I think, went up from last year. Hopefully I'm right. Let's look at this. Yes, sir. He only had 5.5 sacks last year, so his production completely went up from last year, and he's starting to look like the Myles Garrett we know. Now, I think that production went up because of what he put on the field with him. He drafted Will Barber, 6'4", 319-pound, animal strength. He's an animal thug. He also drafted Rocky Gray at D tackle at 6'7", 345 pounds to plug up the middle. And the moment they put those 2 guys on the field, Clowney and Myles Garrett are looking like what they've picked up Clowney to do, along with Myles Garrett, which is get to the quarterback. 13.5 and 10 sacks right now. So this is why I say that front four is dangerous with Will Barber and Rocky Gray holding down the middle of the field. You can't double team on their D line, and you got a superstar and Rocky Gray that if you don't double team him, he can win the one-on-one battle over a lot of centers because of his traits, right? And then if you do double team him, you got to deal with Clowney in one-on-one situations or Myles Garrett in one-on-one situations, and then you add one of the strongest defensive tackles in the league right now in Will Barber, and then mix of that, who do you double team? I mean, you got 5 offensive linemen going up against 4 of these D guys, and 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen are in one-on-one situations.
That sounds like a good problem to have, and I totally agree with the two young lions that they put, and you got the two wily vets outside of them. It's actually protecting what I still consider one of their biggest weaknesses on defense. That's their linebacking core.
Right. I do think they got better at linebacker. They're just still young,
yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like, they got better, but they got to get those guys growing up along with, because the trade for Darius Leonard is the centerpiece of that linebacker group. That linebacker room has a veteran over there that knows how to get it done. And then, 79 tackles is not a small amount of tackles for a linebacker. And then you look at what Tarquin Battles has done, 101 tackles as well. And then they got the young linebacker off a practice squad who came a little later, but he's playing well for him too. Right. And then having Jalaney Glenn, who's a tweener that could play safety or corner in the league, you see the effects of him. Got a sack, tackle for loss, and 5 interceptions, and he can play a little bit of everywhere in the secondary. So they versatile. This defense is really good over here. And when they put it all together, it's hard to do anything on this defense when they do put it together. Other than that, they're at the 7th seed right now. Their chances of moving forward in the playoffs are high as anybody else's in the playoffs, in my opinion, because this team is a really good football team, and they're experienced, and they have a good nucleus, right? And it really comes down to the coach and how well he's locked in his games to better see how far they can actually go. But I do like this team. I do think they're one of those teams that can be in Kings Landing holding on to the trophy at the end of it. We get back to the playoff pictures as I bring in DuckTales. Woo. I know if he on this game right now, we got to wait till 9:30 for him to play this game. Why? You ever understood that, Guns?
Question.
He great hop and chat with us right now, but yet the game is scheduled at 9:30.
It was at 8
You know where I'm at. I'm right here on this podcast show. Don't do that. Don't be asking for me, young man. At all, young man. Alright. So from the 7th seeds, we go to the 6th seeds over here, right? So you got the Washington football team, 6th seed, and the Los Angeles Chargers are the 6th seed. Before we go anywhere, when I'm off the show, got you. Don't do that. Like I said, don't do that. Bears. Did he say Bears eye? Derek West. D West finally on the show. Oh my God, he's watching. Guns, just real quick, what do you think about the Washington football team?
You mean just overall?
Yeah, just your overall thought process of the Washington football team.
Well, I mean, scary defensively. That's the first thing. I mean, they got a defense, man, that a defensive front that rivals, that old '85 Bears front. When it comes to how scary they can be offensively. They're so young. It's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde situation going on over there. Outside of when Scary Terry is your veteran on offense,
right?
You got a young offense.
Yes, sir.
So there's a lot of growing pains there, but the good thing is if they make a mistake defensively, they can erase some of the mistakes that the offense makes. But the bad part has been, but you can only put your defense in that position so many times where they can't erase all of them. And whatever they can't erase has come back, and hurt the team down the stretch.
Their Achilles heel has been exactly that. Their defense get put in conflict. Simple as that. When you put them in a situation where they got to be on the field, too much, or turnovers, they get a stop, you turn the ball over, they back on the field. Those things like that.
I love this team. I think this team is balanced. They're just man. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, kind of remind me of my team.
I said y'all had the two youngest teams. I said y'all had two of the youngest teams in the league, right? Top three, like young teams right now. So I can see why you say that over there right now. I mean, obviously they're in the same situation they was last year. The difference is they got a more athletic quarterback, right? They had Heineke last year, and he went on a skid last year that knocked them out of the playoffs. This year they went on a baby skid, but they won 1 out of 4 games, so that kept them in the playoffs and at the 6th seed at that. So I like this team, but they are very young in the playoffs. I love this rematch. We'll talk about that on the next show when we advance. But I do think, youth is all over this football team. There are really exciting at every position. They're building protection for the young quarterback Doolittle. The one piece that I think is that I really like on this team is their running back Antonio Gibson. Not only is he can be an every down running back, he has the size, the speed, and the athleticness to do, to run the ball, toughness and athleticness to be a good runner for him. They are, and when he gets the ball going and they give him the football, they are usually in a good situation. But he also can catch the ball out the backfield at a high level. And I do think they need to rely on him a little bit more. When they get themselves in trouble is when they go away from him. When they're riding his back and allow him to play, they're usually in a good situation. But for the way that those GMs over there have been moving around and doing things over there, this team has been sticking to their formula, and their formula is quiet right now, but very, very scary in the future what this team's going to do being so young. And as they get developed and get to those thresholds, what happens with this team? Like, they're going to be scary good. Now as far as them in the playoffs right now, glad to see them there. Are they ahead of schedule? I don't think they are. I think they should be in the playoffs and should have been in it last year. But I do think they're in a situation where, it's going to be a lot of pressure on this offense because of the young quarterback, along with a couple of them young linemen that they got as well. On this team. But then defensively, that this team can run with anybody. They got the speed on defense. They got the players in the right position. Bringing Landon Collins down to the linebacker level was a great move. And you got 2 guys with 94 plus speed back there at the safeties, with serviceable corners. Some of these corners, Will Jackson III is playing as if he can be a shutdown himself, but he's doing pretty good over there. They got the young fella and St. Just over there. So these guys got some pieces. At the receiver, like you said, Curtis Samuels went dummies last year. Terry McLaurin is their veteran presence at wide receiver. They got some tall guys they could throw up to. They just pretty much loaded everywhere, man. They got a real big rookie power back that they can incorporate into their offense as well. I like this team. I like where they at right now. And the future's bright for Washington. On the other side of it, the LA Chargers. When you're dealing with the LA Chargers, their coach is playing this year. And in the process of him playing this year, they landed a great player in the draft and Bryce Moss at the tight end position. And they're using him in a way that, you're supposed to use a tight end with that size and speed. He's absolutely the best tight end in the league this year. How far this team can go in the playoffs is really on them. They got 2 young corners. They drafted the number 1 corner in the draft. And then they also drafted another big tower corner, and then Darwin James. You give Corey Darwin James, and he gives you the defensive player of the year. He gives you the most interceptions. He gives you somewhere between 1st to 3rd on tackle for losses. He gives you, this is who I use her, and I make plays with this guy myself. With Darwin James, they use him in ways where he can be everywhere. Back deep safety at the linebacker level. He plays really well in the run game. He's excellent in the passing game, whether it's at linebacker or safety. He's all over the place, and they're building their defense around them. Now Joey Bosa at outside linebacker for them, I have no idea why, but personally I don't know if it's been working out or not, but I do think he should have his hand in the dirt. I think he would have got more out of him there. By me saying that though, I'm going to go to stats to see if I was right with Joey Bosa. How you like him at outside linebacker? Are they running a 3-4 scheme? I don't think they're actually running a 3-4 scheme for him to be outside linebacker. So my question is why? Why isn't he a defensive end coming off the edge?
I have no idea. When I first saw that he was in that, I thought that maybe they were running a hybrid defense. But like I said, I had a chance to play that team, firsthand and see that was not a hybrid defense. He's actually using as a linebacker, and I don't know why he's not a defensive end.
Well, we know Justin Herbert threw for 5,000 yards. He threw 58 touchdowns, 29 picks, 65% on the year, 328 a game. In the run game, this was surprising. Almost 200 carries from a running back from Coach Carter's offense. 193, 1,171 yards, 18 touchdowns, 73 yards a game. That's no fumbles too. Not only did he touch the ball 193 times, Breida had 70 carries as well. Herbert ran the ball 26 times. The young Quandre Coleman had 19 carries. His production went down the moment he realized he couldn't have him at fullback. And that's that receiver over here. We see Bryce Moss, 84 catches, 1665, 32 touchdowns. He's up there with the best wide receivers, so you know he's the best tight end in the league this year. Keenan Allen, we wouldn't expect him to do anything. Guys usually don't want to play with him because of the speed, but that ability shows that he's, fits perfect. And I said that Keenan Allen will fit perfect for Coach Carter and what he does offensively. 74 catches, 1376, two guys over 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. But after that, the production goes down. Now catches, because they throw the ball at a high level over here, are high, 28, 31, 31, 24, 14. But when it comes down to yards after those catches or what they doing with the ball in their hand, Tylan Wallace comes over in a trade from the Baltimore Ravens at the end of the year. He only has 2 touchdowns with an X-Factor ability. Mike Williams has 5 touchdowns as the big red zone threat he is. I guess Bryce took opportunities away from him in the red zone, but he only has 5 touchdowns, and I don't see Mike Evans going forward with this team. Eckler out the backfield has 2 touchdowns and 11.2 yards to carry out the backfield. Again, this offense is a pass first team. They are sprinkling and running a lot more than I thought they would, which is really different for Corey. Corey really doesn't value running backs at all. If those guys don't touch the ball for him, and as runners, they usually are planning a passing game with this team, and they're not this year. So I like to see the fact that he is running the ball. Again, Darwin James, 115 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, a sack, 17 picks. Young Sampson though is making sure that we know who he is. 62 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, a sack and a half, and 9 interceptions, 5 deflections on the year right now. Would you consider that a good season for a rookie?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a good season for a rookie.
I think he's a top 3 corner as far as rookie corners in the league right now. That's pitting and work. He's a top 3. Mm-hmm. Not only is he balling out, the kid Vernon McElroy also is playing well with 7 interceptions, 6 deflections on his team right now. So Corey balling right now. I do think he got a high chance of moving on from round 1. I do think they could put their name in a hat to better figure out if they want to get to King's Landing at all. But they are 2-6 seeds right now. You come out of that, we go right back to the playoff tree. I wonder why it takes me all the way out. Just keep me in there, my boy. Alright, we look at the 5 teams right now. Eagles are sitting at 5. The Chiefs are sitting at 5. Chiefs goes from 6 to 5 after beating the Browns last night. Just real quick though, right now, are you concerned with the Eagles losing to the Bears like that? Coming off of those 2 losses back to back?
No. I saw a lot of substitutions. I saw different guys playing different roles. So I think it was I'm not calling it a benching. I just said different guys playing different roles. So you may see the number 1 receiver, maybe it's the 3 or the 4, where they're still playing. But they played as if they were very conscious that they knew that the playoff appearance was coming. So not taking anything away from the Bears, but I think they may have been a little too cautious, and they got taken to the woodshed.
Right, I agree. I think they realized their fate once they lost to the Eagles, that their fate was 5th seed, at the least 5th seed, because they beat the Washington football team as well. So I don't think they would have especially with them losing to the Saints late, the football team. So they knew they weren't the 5th seed, and I think their focus was strictly on, all right, playoff mode right now. Let's get our guys into the playoffs healthy, not show anything, get some other guys some touches, see how that goes, and prepare for these Bucks. I think that was their mindset. I thought they played at a high level all year. They gave us excitement the entire year. They found themselves. Deshaun Watson is the animal, is one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league this year. The triplets in the backfield, they did really really well, and D-Hop resurrect their offense right now. They got 3 receivers and a tight end over there that all can make plays and all making their money's worth of plays this year. Defensively, it starts with the 2 safeties, and then you start trimming down. What do you have in the secondary? You got 2 shutdown corners and Marcus Peterson, aging shutdown corners, but they're exactly that. Darius Slay and Marcus Peters. They put a rookie that's growing up in between those 2 guys that's sitting there, and Lowry that's learning how to play the game, who's getting to the quarterback from the slot corner and also shutting down slot receivers. And then the pass rush, Josh Sweat has emerged, turned into a player that we'd have probably never thought of being a guy whose name we need to talk about, but he double-digit sacks right now. They're getting a lot out of that front 7 right now, and they're getting better. I like this team all the way as a whole. They got one thing that I love that they have going into the playoffs is 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen are veterans with superstars on them. These guys been there, done that before, so they're going to better protect Deshaun Watson and allow this run game to do some things as well. So I love the Philadelphia Eagles, love where they at. The Kansas City Chiefs, on the other hand, showed us something last night. My question with them is, can they play defense? Although they gave up a lot of points yesterday, their defense have got night and day different. And it was, and the main piece of that defense getting better is Devin Ward, the rookie linebacker that they got from Alabama. He's leading the league in tackles right now. You saw him last night making plays all over the field. I mean, big time plays. Again, Nick Chubb being able to stop him in the backfield and not break any of his tackles at all. He did some big things. I also got to see this. If Tyreek Hill is can't make plays in the game, this team still could put up points. And we showed it well. You heard Boone scream all last night. We shut Hill. You want to go to Hardman, and Hardman answered the bell. So they got they're using their weapons, and then that run game is strong with Hilaire as well. So the Chiefs can be a problem going forward. I know you always say, are you still hanging your hat on Rich the Barber, huh? But I just think the makeup of this team and what he is actually doing with the team, he's in his own way. You saw that he plays a really good football game, and then it seems like they lose focus, and they start to turn the ball over real fast. He was able to overcome that last night, but I think that's their only problem. If they could play a little bit safer and not take too many chances at the wrong time, they kind of got that Washington football feel. That team is really good, and then their quarterbacks throw interceptions that maybe he could have thrown it away, or maybe he could have checked down. Instead, he tried to squeeze it in. Well, that's the likes of having a guy like Patrick Mahomes. You think you can make every throw. So the positive of what I saw on this offense is that they was able to put up points and move the ball consistently without Tyreek having any type of production in that game. So I like this team. Defensively, they got better, but I don't think the defense got good enough for them to win the Super Bowl yet. I think they still need to continue to grow that defense over there. So that's my 5th seeds on both sides of that spectrum. Let's look at the 4th seeds, Jaguars and the Bucks. Totally 2 different teams. On the AFC, the Jaguars are one of the youngest teams in the league, and they're playing in one of the worst divisions in the league, which helps that youth grow. I think if there's any positive to take out of that, until the Colts take their next step, until the Titans take their next step, until the Texans can play a full season to take the next step. Right now, you have a good situation of being able to build those young guys in those 6 games. But outside of that, you had some big wins this year that people need to pay attention to, right? And I think that the team is getting better, and you're starting to understand that the running back's the centerpiece of your offense, and you go trade for Stephon Diggs, which completely gives you a veteran at the receiver presence. On the flip side of it, the 4th team in the NFC is a bunch of veterans with a bunch of abilities running around, and a strong ass run game with Tom Brady as a signal caller. When he's called on, he's doing it at a high level, 80% in the clip right now. That's really, really scary that a quarterback is 80% on a year with 4,000 yards with a running back that almost has that same 4,000 yards himself. Both these teams are different, but are in good situations. Now, I say this about the Jaguars: how do they develop in growth, and what do you guys do and scheme wise? How much do you understand what you have on your team, offensively and defensively? Offensively, everything runs through Travis Etienne, And then when do you take the handcuffs off of Trevor Lawrence? At the end of the day, he's thrown 37 touchdowns versus 37 interceptions versus 30 touchdowns. Is that a problem for him, and how many times can you get away with that going forward with Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs? I think you have to have one of those how do I say it? You have to have one of them seasons like remember the Ravens Super Bowl in 2012, how Joe Flacco, you know, he had an average regular season, and then in the playoffs he was just lights out, pretty much wielding them to the Super Bowl over the 49ers. I think Trevor Lawrence got to make that type of step this year in the playoffs for your team to be successful in these playoffs right now. And you know, goals are on the line. 4th seed, that's been there. You've been there, done that. Can you move on to the second round? And I think if this team, you know, can move to the second round, fight their ass off to get in that second round, they're taking the steps that they need to take with the diaper dandies on this team. Because they're a bunch of diaper dandies. They're very young over here right now. Simple as that. And with the Bucks, the way they built right now, the Super Bowl bust. Am I putting too much pressure on them?
You're not putting any pressure on that. He don't put on himself. I know the way that coach operates, the way they come to work. They come in with one primary goal, and it doesn't fluctuate. They're not trying to hear anything else. So you can't add any pressure to them
at all. And with that team, you know, they brought all 22 starters back to play in the 2021 season. Then the 22, they pretty much brought everybody back but Mike Evans. They made a trade, got Mike Evans up out of there, brought in another superstar offensive lineman. They went crazy in free agency and grabbed a couple of superstars out of free agency. They picked another veteran presence in the secondary to help grow that secondary, and they got way better at the linebacker level, which was already a good team at the linebacker level. This team is ready to go. One of the better offensive lines in the league, and you know, one of the strongest run games in the league. So they ready to go. So to me, Super Bowl or bust. They are everything that they look on paper they are in real life. Simple as that. When you come down to the next 2 seeds, is the third Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears and the number 3 seed. That is a possibility that number 3 seed won't even be in the playoffs. So how interesting is that? This team was the number 1 seed last year to fighting for their playoff lives tonight. What do you think about this New England Patriots team?
Well, they're very, very young at quarterback. But the good thing is he had one of the best offensive lines in front of him to give him time to develop, time to grow, and I think they took. Honestly, I actually took a model from the Jaguars. Actually took a model from the Patriots when they went out and got a Mike Evans to kind of help develop their wide receivers. I noticed that, and you know, and that's one of the things that went out and got a Diggs that has, and I mean they've helped them from different scenarios to, I don't know, they just move different, they walk different. I've said over and over, I can't explain it. I don't even want to explain it, but I think that defensively, they challenge you. I did raise an eyebrow, you know, when they got rid of Gilmore.
That was crazy, but not crazy, because the way this team played, they play so safe on defense. Gilmore wasn't going to be able to ever show Gilmore be Gilly Lock, you know what I'm saying? Well, not with this team, because of what their play style on defense. I just think they got to be uncomfortable to be comfortable. The one thing about the Patriots are they're predictable, and guys can cheat to everything they like to do offensively and defensively because they are simple. They they're comfortable at what they run, and they run it at a high level. Simple as that, and they're not going to come up out of that. And until they can do that, I don't know about them making the next step. Right now, they have to fight for their playoff lives. Right now, it's too much of a scenario with the Dolphins, Bills, and New England Patriots. All right, so when we look at standings, we know this. We know that every team has a division winner at this point right now. Every team has their playoff guys from that division already have an X or a Y next to their name right now, except for the AFC East right now. When you look at the AFC East, give me a second. When you look at the AFC East as a whole right now, they all split over there. You know, the only team that's in a situation where they need to get better as a team is the Jets over there. But when it comes down to the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots right now, all of them have split in with each other. Now here's the situation, here's the scenario. This is why I say 16 teams dancing and not 14 right now. Alright, so the Patriots are sitting at 11-5, Dolphins are at 10-6, and the Bills are at 10-6. Dolphins have the Baltimore Ravens in it after the show, and the Patriots have the Denver Broncos. It's coming up soon, right? The Dolphins are on a 7-game winning streak, Bills are on a 3-game winning streak, Patriots are on a 2-game losing streak. If the Dolphins don't beat the Ravens, their chances of the playoffs, they might as well go ahead and clean house, get ready for the offseason. If they beat the Ravens, they put themselves in a situation where they just need the Patriots to lose to the Broncos, and then let Madden sort it out, right? Now, if the Dolphins lose to the Ravens, and the New England Patriots lose to the Broncos, then the Bills have an opportunity to win the division and get in the playoffs. What we do know is one of these teams will be in the playoff, the other two will not. And I think that's pressure for the New England Patriots. They will go from winning the division last year to being at the 3rd seed and having a chance to get to the 2nd seed to all the way out of the playoffs in a situation. And in another scenario of they can lose, and let's say all 3 of these teams win their last week game, right? And you know the Patriots lose. That doesn't mean they're out of the playoffs. They can still go to the 6th or the 7th seed. So it's scenarios like everybody's handing their resume in, and we're waiting to see who's going to get hired. Well, right now, the Patriots and the Dolphins are on display right now. The Bills have a forced win pretty much, so they're good. They're going to 11-6. The Dolphins and the Patriots are great play for their playoff lives tonight. Simple. They're great play for their playoff lives tonight. And since we're talking about 16 teams, the Bills are sneaky good, and they're in a sneaky good situation because they changed coaches early on in the season. I think it was like 6 games in. They changed coaches, and they stayed balanced to being 10-6 right now, which is solid for them. And out of all these teams, they're the most surprising team over here. The Dolphins started off 2-5, then went on a 7-game winning streak, got their team at 4 games over 500. And a situation where we did nothing but talk down on that quarterback play over there and what they was doing with the quarterback, to now he's on his way getting that team back to a playoffs, and which can be serious and strange and crazy for them to be in the playoffs. They in the playoffs, they're going to be a scary team in those playoffs. And then the Patriots are one game away from not being in the playoffs and having to figure out what they're going to do for going forward. Simple as that, right? And the Bears are in the Bears situation is strictly this: we won the Super Bowl last year, nobody expected us to, especially with the roster we had, and we defended that Super Bowl this year too, with a lot of controversy around the Bears right now. Are they dropping 2? Are they got players playing positions that they shouldn't be at right now? There's a lot of little conversation going on with these Bears. We're starting to get that little Bill Belichick feel of the Bears, where they getting away with some things and they doing a lot of shit, Spygate and you know all that shit that came behind, Deflategate, all that shit, right? The Bears over there getting away with shit, and his favorite answer is, "Oh nah, oh my bad, I ain't know." Little baby shots. Little baby shots. Before you play the Bears, watch his roster. Watch who's on the field at a certain position. Watch that cover 3 all game long. So I'll stop playing with my boy D West. Like, kiss my ass, I'm the bad guy. Y'all all gunning for me. At the end of the day, y'all be talking about this Bucks team or this Cardinals team or whatever other teams y'all talking about over there. And yet, I'm the one that won the Super Bowl. I'm the one holding the NFC down. How y'all forgetting about me? Like, where's the respect at right now? Acting like Justin Fields don't have a Super Bowl trophy and a Super Bowl ring. What are we talking about over here? Y'all keep talking about all these other teams and the trades and stuff they did, and this is me and my little old roster right now kicking y'all ass when it matter. Simple as that, right? Oh my God, that's how they acting right there. So again, the Dolphins and the Patriots are playing for their playoff lives tonight. The Bills are sitting back waiting to see what happens between those guys playing for their lives right now. The 2 seed, the Broncos and the New York Giants. Guns, is the Broncos flying under the radar and we're not paying attention to a team that's really good? Nobody's paying attention to it?
I thought the Broncos have been on the radar because people don't run out the schedule with the Broncos right away, so they're not flying on the radar. People ducking. So,
DuckTales.
Under the radar at all. I'm not saying they scared them, but they don't reach out right away. Hey, Dolphins win you free. I mean Broncos win you free. So they're aware. Just like with the Bears, teams like that, they're not sneaking up on anybody. People know who
people
they
not
are.
dumb. They know who the fuck
for.
you are, right? Simple as that. Knock it off. Who think you are? All right, now let me ask you this. They got one of the better secondaries in the league. No fly zone. That really fits their team. Can Tua get this team to a Super Bowl?
Now I know last playoff I remember, Tua was, of course, a year younger on star development. Now I'm looking at him this year, he's a year beyond, and now he has, superstar development. So he has the opportunity, to play on traits. So it's going to be very interesting now to see this version of the offense now with, now that they got a quarterback on trait.
All right, so what I like about this team right now is that they do have a no-fly zone secondary. You got the safety level is pretty solid, corner level is pretty fast and young and solid. But then they got 2 pass rushers off the edge right now. And then don't forget they made that trade for Garrett last year at D tackle. So they got 3 superstars on that D line. I think in some cases 4. And that's very unique to have 4 straight across the line on defense. So that pass rush is serious right now. They're in the top 3 in interceptions, and they also up there in sacks, quarterback hurries and pressure. So at the end of the day, you still got you got Bradley Chubb coming off of one end, Von Miller coming off the other end. You got Garrett up the middle, and I think there's one more guy that I'm not mentioning right now that's a superstar on that D line as well. That can present some problems right now. So I like this team. This team is one of those teams over here in the AFC that can win the Super Bowl this year. They could be sitting with their hand, with the crown at the end of it all. Over here, they're that strong. And then you have the moving GM Giants, the G-Men Giants, man. These guys went and got Danger Russ. They went and got DK Metcalf. They went and got Stephon Gilmore. They went and got Chandler Jones. So I continue on what they went and got. Then during the season, they had guys meet their goals and their scenarios, and they upgraded to superstars and superstar X Factors and shit like that, such as the cornerback over there, what's my boy name? Adoree Jackson. He had devved up. You got the receivers that devved up. They don't have a receiver on their team that's not a superstar at this point. You got Katoni, who devved up during the season. You got John Ross, who devved up during the season. DK Metcalf is over there already devved up. Kenny Galloway, if he's still there, he doesn't play for him much, but he's devved up. They're superstars and X factors at the receiver position all over the place. And then at the end of the day, they went and traded for Ronnie Stanley as well on the offensive line. So then you got Saquon Barkley running behind a really good offensive line that can run block and pass block, right? You got better at the quarterback position because you got a veteran who's been in the Super Bowl before. This team is built to win right the fuck now. And I just named about 6 players that they traded and got. Big time players, and you wonder why on the broadcast when they're playing games you hear guys saying all-star teams, just an all-star game weekend, all-star weekend. So that guy went out and he made a statement, and it all started with the Eagles busting moves, but their statement was, we're ready to win right now. His confidence is through the roof right now. And to be honest with you, I think as a coach, this guy, I don't think nobody in the league can beat him. All for the moves he made right now. I really think he feel that way. As you can see in the energy, he's picked on the Bucks all day today in the chat. He talking shit to Circle Bob. So how you sitting home on the couch and this and that. Like he's at an all-time high right now when it comes down to confidence. And then he has the games and the wins that back up that confidence right now. Is this the best team in the NFC?
But no, I'm not. I don't crown anybody until they can remove a crown.
Right.
So that's what the playoffs are for. So, no, they're not the best team right now in the NFC. They gotta go out and take that title.
No doubt. We'll see how confident these guys go around to win, because again, they got one of the top running backs in the league in Saquon Barkley as well over there, and a better signal caller at quarterback right now. So Let's see if the moves pays off, and if the Russ move is a good move to make over there right now. Then we ended off with the two #1 seeded players right now in the Ravens and the Cardinals. And one of the arguments earlier in the chat that I did see was Ravens or Cardinals is winning the Super Bowl. Now I'm the Ravens, Falk's the Cardinals, and we both aren't sitting here saying the same thing that Circle Bob said. I think he was just throwing shots at the rest of the league and all that shit, but you know, that's just the chat how it go. When I look at the Cardinals, this is what I see. I see a team that is nowhere near the potential, and a lot of it is because they don't get games. Simple as that. Anytime you're in a situation where you're not getting games, and you're forced to have to play the computer because guys just not planning. Simple as that. You know, his division ain't as active as it's supposed to be, that it will be. You got the Seahawks who in rebuild mode, and got to get that hardwire to get that internet situation fixed when you won't be dropping games. And then you got the Rams who I don't know if he plays or he ain't playing. Then when you think he's not playing, and we do respond, he's actually telling the truth. He has been playing his games, but he's not consistently over there actively, you know, reaching out, showing he's playing. You almost got to chase him down like D West, right? But they're not playing. The 49ers, you know, he's always on the real talks. He's always in the chat talking and all that, but he ain't playing his games the way he should be, or focused the way he should be over there. So that's 4 games, almost 6 games a season right there, where it's not his fault. But I think the fact that he's not getting a whole bunch of user games put him in a situation where it's just unknown. You're not playing users. You're not going to, you know what I'm saying? Even though sometimes the computer is better than some users, but when you're not getting real, you know, real competition, real, you know, me up against you competition right now, you really got to ask yourself, does this team really know their identity yet? What we do know is they got a 2,000-yard back that carried the ball almost 100 times less than anybody running back in the league with 2,000 yards. What we do know is we got a guy that got 2 to 3 players on their team that has anywhere between 8 to 12 yards rack after catch right now. These guys make big plays. We got 3 2,000-yard receivers over there, and a tight end with almost 1,500 yards as a tight end, and he got double-digit touchdowns. There's not a receiver on this team that doesn't have 20 or more touchdowns. You got a quarterback in a situation where you do the math between him playing on an average of him playing a user, he throws on an average 4 touchdowns a game. On that same average, playing a user, his average is 3 interceptions a game. So then you ask yourself, Kyler Murray is not getting the experience against users, not getting that user feel that much right now. Does that hurt this team in the playoffs? What we do know is that they're young on the offensive line. That's their biggest weakness, is that offensive line. But their firepower is fucking crazy over here. We called their offense last night? Then we finally find a name for this offense. Fast and Furious rate, the FSR. So Guns, talk about this offense and how dangerous, explosive it really is.
Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of games for this to measure. I mean, I can look at I know what the numbers are, and I can go off of how, you know, the coaches played before. But, you know, this is a new disc, and you know, Coach Falkers actually openly admitted that, you know, he has things that he had to work on. There were things about the game that he doesn't understand, or that he didn't understand at one point that he understands now. So that makes him even more dangerous. So now is I think it's really their time. You know, they no matter what, they're gonna play all home games. As long as he keeps winning, they're gonna be playing home games. So whether it's not gonna be a problem, that team's gonna be running. They're playing on a track. Right,
track field. Yeah, track field. They remind me of Golden State, bro. That fast pace, can score from anywhere on the court. That's what this team is to me. They are the Golden State Warriors on a football field versus on a hardwood, and they can do it well. Well, just as much as we have a question mark about what this team is, every team over there, even the teams that played him, don't got a full handle on what he is either. The same way, you know, you don't really know. They don't really know. I don't care who played him. They all gonna think the same shit. Oh, we just gotta run on him, da 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 da. And you're gonna miss who he really is as a Madden player, as a coach. He's a adjuster. He's a guy that's not gonna allow the same thing that always happened to him. And I think, you know, just his prestige and who he is will put pressure on anybody he play. Simple as that. And I think he can stand for that pressure. And what I do know is this: we saw him give his running back 46 carries. Now, most guys that are runners in the league, that get their running back somewhere between that many carries, that guy is running the ball at a level of probably 300, almost 400 yards rushing right now. So you know he openly admitted, you guys that be running like that, that's an art, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. So he gave credit to these guys that do 30 carries or more and the way they do it right now. You had a guy that doesn't even think about giving his running back 20 more carries, did it because he just wanted a breakout message, and that breakout message got his guy to a superstar X Factor, who was already a great running back in the league as is from last year with the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's his X Factor going into the playoffs. That would be his X Factor. And if you let this offense with those 3 receivers with 2,000 yards and that big 6'7" tight end they got in King James over there, it'd be a problem over there. Good luck. Over there. Let's not forget that he had the guy we dubbed the best corner in the league, and Goins over there, still over there. Safety players got better. Isaiah Simmons is still in the middle of the field. This team really, it's going to be scary. And the fact is, they're not where they need to be at right now in season 2. They're not even. They didn't even touch the surface yet, and that to me is scary on his own. Completely. So I do think they're the number 1 seed right now, right? And I do think, you know, like you said, with them being able to play home games and there, you got to come see them. You're planning on there, like they have the advantage in so many ways. How do they protect Kyler Murray though with the type of offensive line they got? Even though they made some draft picks and got some good linemen, I think they got 2 rookie linemen over there. They're still rookies. So how do they protect that, you know, Kyler Murray? And then we've only seen Kyler Murray as a pocket passer under Peyton Manning's offense. Don't forget about he's the second fastest quarterback in the league.
I mean, they can protect him by speeding the offense up.
Yep.
By continuing to run the football. I mean, you can protect them just by the time the defenders get back there, the ball's gone. That, you know, he can be allowed to, through his offense, to protect himself. 1, 2, 3, the ball's gone, or you know, or either, you know, pop passes, RPOs, running the football. There's plenty of ways to protect him, and they have a coach that knows how to scheme and will figure out a way to protect his quarterback.
We heard Peyton Manning and Cliff Kingsbury both say we have what we want pieces wise. We think we did a hell of a job putting the weapons around Kyler Murray. It's 2 things that they saying that they for them to take the next step, the next phases to what they really do on offense for that fast and furious rate to be crazy. And the first step is Kyler Murray as a dual threat quarterback, the weaponry he is if he uses his legs as well. The second thing is he's one of the inventors of keep him in it. The keep him in it. That's the speed. What happens when this team is calling a play at 7 seconds a pop? With that type of force that they got with Kyler Murray as a dual threat quarterback as well, calling these plays at 7 seconds a clip and keeping you in it, getting their adjustment set, hike, and let you got to play over and over again up and down the field. This is one team that does this at a high level and hasn't got to that point of his offense yet. I think they're the second and third phases of this fast and furious offense over there right now. And I do think we're going to see a little bit of that in the playoffs. Which is really, really scary over there. So that's the Cardinals, the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now let's go Ravens. I'm gonna let you speak because it's my team, so I'll follow your lead here.
I mean, who knows the team better than his coach? But I will take the lead. You know, this is one of the hardest teams that we had to scheme against because, you know, when you come out, you're looking at a pistol formation or you're looking at different RPO formations. You don't know by the time that ball hikes when Lamar turns and then turns around again, it's almost like the the old magic trick with the 3 cups and the ball. You got to figure out who has the ball.
Right.
So you know, by the time you get that, even an offense like that, even with average running backs, by the time you figure out who has the ball, you know, they're 2 to 3 yards down the field. Even if you got a 3 yard in the cloud of dust type of running back. Now imagine that with a high profile running back. You playing the same magic trick. So now it's even on your best day. Now it's 3 to 5 yards per tackle.
Right.
Well, I mean, you get 3 to 4 opportunities each play, you know, each series or each reset of downs to advance the football.
No doubt.
So you're not stopping anybody if they're getting 3 to 5 yards per rushing attempt. And that's if you're on top of your game. Then all of a sudden you miss some tackles here and there, or they break tackles here and there. You know, they loose, and they can get real ugly, real fast.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson is the best weapon in the league. Simple as that. And again, they're starting to use him. He's a 1,000-yard back this year, double-digit touchdowns out the backfield. They're starting to use him a little bit more in his dual threat capability right now. He's really throwing the ball at a high level as well. They do have the weapons all over the place. They are young though. 3 out of the 5 starters on the offensive line are rookies. Their backfield is rookies. You know, at the receiver level, they have, you know, a 3-year player, a 2-year player, and a rookie. At the tight end position, they're rookies. Then you go flip side of the defense. They got everybody in their front 4 are rookies except for 1 player in Calais Campbell, the veteran. At the linebacker level, there's nobody older than 1 year. And then in the secondary, Marlon Humphreys, and he's not, you know, super up there in age, but he's their oldest player in the secondary as well. They're very young all over the place, and the problem is being young in the playoffs can pose a threat. But I think if they are playing at a high level, this team is legit fast. They're really good against the run. They you know, they can cover as well. They got really good talent at the cornerback levels. Like, they're well put together, and they're ready to go. But it's the if factor. How does this team play? You know, late down the stretch in playoffs. A lot of them going to be playing for the first time in the playoffs, and a lot of them only going to be in their second run in the playoffs right now. So it's the youth, and what do this youth do going forward? But this team could be dangerous on both sides of the ball. They got 4 of the top linebackers in the AFC up for the award race right now. They got a young rookie cornerback with speed out this world, who has 7 sacks along with 10 interceptions right now. Marlon Humphreys is playing like one of the better cornerbacks in the league, who really is not being talked about with his 11 interceptions on the year right now. And then the safety, they got a baby Ed Reed back there, and Ray Lewis, second in the league in tackles right now. So this team has a lot of potential and a really big upside. It can get scary later on. Right now, and I do think they have to manage the hell out of their team in these playoffs because of the youth. Their second youngest team in the playoffs. Simple as that, right? That's our team. That's our 14. We even talked about the 16, the Buffalo Bills, and the Dolphins fighting for their playoff lives right now. You want to tune in anything else, tune in to the Baltimore Ravens and the Dolphins game. That should be coming up real soon, within a few minutes, actually. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. He's been asking for me all the way in up in the chat in the comment sections. Like I'm ducking. I think Falk threw a couple of ducks up there too, as if that's what I'm doing right now. But we shall see. I don't know. You know, AntHits, the franchise guru, real talks out. You're